Hello, welcome to Comic Books Investment Chat. Yes, no longer Sunday. I decided after Thanksgiving that going forward, if I'm gonna do a comic books investment chat kind of video like I done, it's just gonna be impromptu kind of things. Could be any given time of the day on any given week, so that I'm not tied down to any kind of schedule. It's not a big deal because I think a lot of people watch or listen to the podcasts at their own leisure anyway. It's not like people hunkering around the breakfast table on Sunday morning to listen to what I have to say. So why tie myself down to that kind of time frame, right? So that's the reason why I decided to do what I am doing right now. I'm just gonna shoot the breeze for about an hour, and if people watch it later, so be it. Once again, thank you for all of the few people that bid on my auction. Um, Next month there will be an auction. What there will be it's a reminder here is there will be a for sales video with people with me selling some slabs, and then there will also be a separate auction that auction off some raw books. That will happen probably the second week of January. So if you're waiting or curious on when I will do the sales in January, that is when. Most likely the second week of January, I will do a video on some slabs. I already preview many of the slabs already, but there will be more. There will be maybe at least one, if not two, additional slabs that I will add to that. January is here. I do, you know, I will probably do a lot of selling the first 3 months of the year. Okay, so we will see. It depend on the demand. I mean, I like to get rid of stuff as quick as I can, but at the same time, if the market is soft and nobody want to buy anything, even if it's cheap stuff, then I will wait. That's the thing. One big difference going right now compared to last year is that the way the market is right now, just like last year. Last year, December was pretty ugly. What is the beginning of the ugly market, right? So I didn't consign anything to Comic Link right away. I wait until what's going on with the market. And by the end of January, early February, I felt that the market will be okay. Some books will do okay, some books will not do so well. And I was okay with consigning a lot of stuff to Comic Link from February through October. Okay. I did not consign anything in late November. So this year, I probably will do the same thing. I will watch the market closely to see what I will consign to Comic Link. There's no rush. What I mean? I like to sell. I like to leave the hobby in the next 7 years, as I mentioned many times. But at the same time, if the market's weak and I don't need the money, there's no rush to dump anything. It's not going to help the market. It's not going to help me. Okay, so I can be patient if needed. I load a video this morning that talk about um, the demand, and I actually made a few more videos that I will plan to load in the next few weeks that dive deeper into the demands, um, because I think that's the more important part of the equation when it comes down to supplies and demand. Some people, if people want to debate about the demand and how many copies there is, I don't care. Okay, let me make it very clear. Hello, James. Let me make it very clear. Um, Hello, Slim. I saw you load a video on food. I need to check that out. But I did see that popped up on my channel recommended thing that you load something on noodles, I think. So make no mistake, I will be watching that sometime later today after my lunch. Um, I made a video talking about supplies and demand, and one other thing that I want to reiterate for those that have watched that video is yes, supply and demand go hands in hand, but one of the things that is very hard to quantify, even though I did say in the video that the supplies are static, is that we kind of know how many copy exists on many things, and I'm sure some people would want to debate, you know, how do you know? Well, there is no way to tie down exactly on anything. It's not an exact science. Okay, this is not something that we care or have information at our fingertips on. Oh, we know exactly 25,000 copies of Hook 181 is available circulating. We don't know that. Okay, we don't. Let me make it very clear for those that have hard of hearing or comprehension. I'm not saying I know that. What I do know and what you can agree without disputing me is what? There's plenty of copies of Hook 181 for sales right now, last year, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, always. Okay, so let's make it very clear. I don't care if it's 50,000 copy of Hook 181. I don't care if there's, I don't need to know. The question is there supplies? Is there available supply out there available, readily available for anyone to buy a copy on any given grade? I think most of us with sound mind will say, yeah, if you want a 9.8 copy, I'm sure you can go and find a copy. A 9.4, yeah, a 5.0, yeah, it's there. It's not a rare book. The question is the demand side. The demand is what dictate the ultimate price of any of these things. Okay, it's not about the supplies. In that video, I also ended with the example of what a Captain America 1, a rare book. Okay, and if that dispute and debunk anyone that want to debate, oh guys, we don't know how many books. Guess what? Can we agree that Captain America 1 is very rare? Did that stop the book from being 25% less? No. So enough with the supply stuff. Okay, I don't care. Let me make it very clear. I don't care about supply talk because anyone that want to debate with me about supply have nothing to say about demand. They're trying to throw some stuff in that's just like, I don't buy it. Now, I will load a few videos on the demand that talk about how complex that is because there is no easy answer or cause or factors that can say, okay, this is what impact demands. There isn't. Okay. If anything that's very clear and should be very clear to anyone that watch my videos on these topic is that there's no clear cut answer that anyone can get. There's no definitive answer that I can tell you. This is why the market is weak. This is why the market is strong. There is none to give. Okay. So if you want to cherry pick a sentence that I just say something and say, oh, he said this and he said that, make it very clear. There is no one answer. There's no one answer fits all here. None. That's why I made a video about what? Inefficiency. This market is so inefficient from information, from where the buyers are, where the sellers are. There are so many inefficiency in this market. Need I say more? So those that want to debate and discuss and argue on the reasons, the word inefficiency says it all, right? Now, when it comes down to the demand, one of the things that I want to talk about in this chat, and many of these things I'm talking about here is available either already or will be in 10 to 12 minutes videos, the kind of videos that I like to do. Um, is that not everybody watch the chat. Okay, not everybody care to listen to 1 hour long of me talking. And so it's easier to just make the 10, 12, 15 minutes video and have people digest the information that way. Um, Hello, comic addiction. Yeah, I'm fired up. You should know better. Good days go. You should know. I have zero tolerance for nonsense. Okay, a lot of people don't like me for that. That's fine. Good days go. You know how I am. Ask me about price or something, and I tell you to get the f out of here. Uh, you get that. You get that talk already, right? Um, some people just don't get the hint. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the market, one of the hardest thing about the comic market is the small number. You know, the law. I made a video that I talk about called the law of small number. Yes, good as gold because it's nonsense. You know that already. If you watch, as you claim, you watch a lot of my videos, and yet you ask a question like, "Why is that wrong?" Come on, it's. Is there a reason for that kind of questions? Uh, I talked for 7 years about liking to collect raw books, and then when I show a book, why is it raw? What do you expect? Heck, even other people in the chat room tell you that was a stupid questions. Um, One of the thing that is the most difficult thing about this hobby is what I call the law of small number. Okay, the law of small number uh, is how few there are as far as any particular group of potential buyers on anything. The dynamics of an auction can change drastically when you have one less or one more bidders fighting for a book. Okay, that is how tight this market is because it's not a lot of people. There is not a lot of people that can afford a $30,000 book. Can we agree on that? You know, there's a lot of people that like to throw out opinions on this hobby, but if you cannot bid on a 30,000 books, then really you're not in a position to say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. You don't know. If you're not the kind of collectors that are bidding actively on five figures books, then you're not part of that market. Okay, but when you go, the higher you go up the pyramid, the fewer and fewer and fewer the people they exist. Okay, how many people have $150,000 to bid on anything? How many? You know, not many. So all it takes is one person for whatever reason. It could be that he already had the book. I used to follow, long before YouTube. I wish if I was on YouTube earlier, I would have been able to illustrate it. But there was time where I follow auction very closely on big books, and you can see how if a big book, let's say Avenger 1, a 9.0 copy go for a certain price, if another copy come up shortly after, you see less bidding action, you see less price, a little bit less, not like a huge difference. Okay, it's not like I'm not talking, oh, 20% decline because one less person bid, but you can see it. You can see the trend from books to books. Given any big keys, you see it. All it takes is one bidder that say, "I got my copy. I'm done. I'm done fighting it," and you will see, an impact on the price, and that's the law of small number. Okay, that's is one of the big contributors to the price swing of any direction in this hobby on big books. I'm not talking small stuff. I'm talking big books, okay? Because there are so few people playing in that game. The pool is very tight, and all it takes is one less person for whatever reason to say, not for me, or I got my copy. Um, and it's down. It's and all it takes, okay, on the opposite end of the spectrum, all it takes is one person to jump in the pool, and the water will rise, right? Yeah, you get the metaphor, right? So that's the law of small number, okay? And I actually made a video about this 2 weeks ago, about the same time I shot the video that I load this morning. I sat down and I shot like three different videos, about 10 to 14 minutes each, or something like that. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna load one by one. And as I mentioned, not everybody watch the chat, so uh, I can duplicate, regurgitate the same thing that I already said in that video that other people will watch later. Uh, Yickety yakety, hello. Brian's here. Music Chatter is here. I am in that three figures club right now. Brian Madrigal. Yes. Um, it's and the the biggest problem with the hobby right now, of course, is in the high roller club. Okay, now why or how the high roller decided that they don't want to play in this field is not something that I know. Okay, I know I'm not bidding on those things because I got those things, or I don't want those things. Okay, let me make it very clear. I don't have everything, but I don't need those things. I don't want those things. I talk openly about me wanting to slim down my collection and leave the hobby in the next 7 years. So it's not, so I am one of the participants that say no more. It's not as if I'm bidding on any of those things in the first place. Okay, let me make it very clear. If you watch my channel, you don't see me showing off a lot of five-figure books that I won in any auctions in the last many years. Many years. It had been many years since I spent five figures on anything in this hobby. So I just don't, um, I just don't see how, you know, other, I don't have privilege of knowing what other high roller plan to participate in the market. I don't know what they think. I can only guess, all right, because the market is down. You can only guess that they don't want to buy, or less, a few of them don't want to buy. Less people want to buy, and that's what is the downdraft is happening. Okay, so what will it take to change the mind of these individuals? I don't know. Okay, for those that um, are in this market and have been waiting for the books to come down, they can answer you. Okay, they can answer. They can tell you, I'm waiting for this to. I have been waiting all last year, all this year, for it to crash so that I can buy for cheap. You have heard this kind of comments everywhere. I have heard this every time I make a video. I get at least one of those comments where I say, I've been waiting for a 25% crash. Ask those guys, what point are they jumping in the pool. Then you can figure out when the market may turn. Okay, so I don't know. I don't have the answer because I'm not in the market buying in the last couple of years. Certainly, I'm not in the market to buy in the next few years. So I'm the last person that can tell you it will turn now. I don't know. I'm not in the market for those things. Slim Comic said, "My wife will divorce me." Yeah, it's not something that a spouse can be comfortable seeing other people spending their money. Okay, I can understand it. Hey, my wife, she raised her eyebrow when she saw me buying some big books in the past. Not recently because I haven't buy a lot of stuff, but over the years, even my son over the past few years. Um, oh wow, thank you, sir, for the big super chat. Um, over the years, they have seen me done very well flipping books as well as collections. So she no longer freaked out. Okay, in the past, maybe 8 years ago, back in 2010, 2011, when I was still buying big books, like buying a Detective 31 or Detective 33. She's like, oh my God, you spent that much. Mind you, I bought my Action one 2010-ish. So yeah, so she saw those. Trust me, it wasn't cheap. So she's like, oh my God, you spent that much? Oh my God. But she has seen how well I have done in the past few years that she's like, okay, but now I'm like, I told my wife this year that I'm done. My days of buying a lot of books to sell is over because it's a lot of work. It's fun, but it's also work, and I prefer to do less work going forward. Nishant, thank you. I appreciate that you appreciate the videos. Hello, Roberto Rotondo. Uh, that clone asks, "What's your thoughts on the mid-grade key market?" Um, I think the mid-grade and low-grade key market will do better. Okay, that's the keyword I want to use and want to say will do better because the high end is very tough. Okay, the high end, the big books, it doesn't matter if it's a Bronx 9.8. I don't want to touch it. It doesn't matter if it's a Hook 181 9.6. I don't want to touch it. Okay. Sure, Hook 181 has had some big spike up the last few years and came down. But if you go back 15 years, there are people that bought that book that still have not make money. So I would never advise anyone to go out there and buy a Hook 181 9.6 or 9.8. If you're good and you're kind of gambler that can buy a Hook 181 9.8 for 25,000 and then sell it for 35,000 on the snapback, good for you. Okay, congratulations. I can't play that game. I rather put $25,000 in the stock market and make my money. I have more confidence in picking the right stock that will make me profit than throw $25,000 in a Hook 181 9.6 or 9.8. I just can't do that. But for the low grade keys and mid grade keys, silver age, I think the market will be fine. Okay. If there is a correction, which there is, nobody say that there isn't a correction for those books. If there is one, it will take time. I do not believe that the downtrend that we have right now in 2019 is something that can reverse quickly. I don't see it. Um, if it happens, I'd be the first to say, "Wow, I was wrong." I'm not going to complain. Trust me, I don't have a problem being wrong. If the market snap back in 2020, guess what? Guess who will be the first in line to sell stuff? Yeah, right here. Okay, so trust me, I'm not sitting here and saying that I hope I'm right. I hope I'm going to be the one that predict correctly that the market will be soft in 2020. No, I don't know. But if the market is going to be strong next year, hallelujah. It helped me stay on track of leaving the hobby. Yeah. David Valdez, hello. Well, I'm still going to be around for 30 more minutes. I will leave at noon to enjoy my lunch. Um, but before I forget to mention, make sure to check out Strictly Comics. He is running a bunch of auction started yesterday for the Hero Initiative. So if you want to participate and donate, that's the way to help out creators. If you want to help out creators in need, my plan on last year I donated a couple books, a couple slabs. This year my plan is to just donate money. So I will just donate money directly to I will donate the money to Edwin Strictly Comics, and then he can just give that money because I think that's the best thing to do. It's the least work on me, on him. We don't have to deal with running the auction and collecting the money and shipping all that stuff. To me, my advice to the whole community, which I told him, I said, heck, it would be nice if everybody in the community chip in $50. Hey, if we have 3,000 dudes, think about this. If there's 3,000 dudes in these active communities that want to help out the Hero Initiative, each one of you, me included, just give $50. And that's more money than Edwin raised last year with many weeks of planning and running the auction. That's a lot of work on his part. Okay. People don't understand how much work he and a few other guys helped out. It's a tremendous effort on their part, a lot of sacrifice on their time and effort to do the charity auction. I mean, it was up to me. I would rally the community, say, everybody chip in $50. And bang, raising 10,000 is not a big deal. And it's the least amount of work. No auction need to be run, but kudos for him to do this. Bye, Slim. Uh, let's say what else do I need to talk about? As far as the market, I don't know. There's a couple questions in the chat room about how do I see the market in the next few years. I really don't know, in all honesty. I Some people like to throw out why ask guests. Oh, it's gonna do this next year. It's gonna do that. I don't know. Um, the one thing that I have learned being back in the market since 2008, 2009 is that the market has gone to places I never expected. Okay. I would never expect this market to be where it is. If I come back the clock in 2009 and you ask me, is variance going to be something that's going to be around in 10 years? I would say, no way in hell. Wrong there. Okay. If this book's going to be this price, I, 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 I think most people, if they're honest, will tell you that anything that they thought the hobby will be in 10 years ago, they're wrong. Dead wrong. Okay. Or at least semi wrong. I can say with complete honesty that many things that I thought would be, I was wrong. The one thing that I thought that I was right for the most part is non keys, especially low grade. to mid-grade non-keys. Doesn't matter if it is gold or silver or bronze or copy. I thought that the one thing I got right was I thought that the market trend is definitely more key centrist. Okay, more people will focus on keys, less run collectors, less completists. So the pricing on those kind of books will be not going up. Okay, I said this. If you go back even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you might find video of me saying that right now is the best time to be a completist because these books are cheap. It's dirt. Nobody cares. You can't get anywhere near overstreet price guide on these things because the majority of the collector has moved on. If they collect those kind of books, non-keys, they tend to go for the high grade people. There is still a segment of the collecting community that want 9.4, 9.6, 9.8 slabs of these non-keys books. So the market for those still are decent, but if you're talking about low grade bronze, they are dollar bin stuff, right? Bargain bin stuff. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Woody Warrens is here. There is a segment of the market that just collect stuff and they don't really worry about the financial aspect of the market, and that's not a bad thing to do. But at the same time, if Woody is honest, he would say that he probably doesn't go out there and buy a $10,000 book, right? Because it's hard to disconnect those that say, I don't care about the value, but I want to. If you spent $10,000, if you spent five figures on a book, I don't buy one bit that you don't care about the values. Okay, I don't care. I don't believe it. Call me a liar, call me many things, but I don't care. I don't believe it because $10,000, unless you're a millionaire, unless you are some Elon Musk have money that can throw away, or Jack or Todd McFarlane kind of money, you buy some key stuff to enjoy, you don't care. But for a lot of people, $10,000 is a lot of money. So for those that participate in that, I don't buy. I don't buy the mantra. I buy what I love. I don't care what the market do. Oh yeah, you do care. You do care. So I'm gonna let the phone ring because I'm pretty sure it's telemarketer. Nobody call me during the day anymore, especially now that I'm mostly retired. And usually, I give my numbers out to the few clients left. I give my cell phone so that the only person that call me on a landline are marketer. Hello, Comic Mac Musing. Yes, Woody Warren, he said it. He spent four figures on a few books, but it's true. He's not a five figures buyer. It's not to me. I'm not here to tell people how to collect. Okay, there are those people that it floors me how fragmented this community is because you have a lot of younger collectors that can spend 100, $200 a month on pull list, right? I'm sure many people here can tell you that those kind of collectors exist. Okay, so if you do the math, if you spend $100 to $200 a month on new books pull list, well, you can easily spend $1,500 to over $2,000 a year on new books, right? Easily. That's an expensive hobby. Okay, that's a lot of money. And there are people in this community that I have exchanged emails and comments with that have done this for a few years. So let's say you've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. That means that you have spent 8,000 plus on new comic books. Okay, but what is is hard for me to digest is when those individuals say, "I will never pay $50 for a comic book." That's crazy. Equally, on the opposite extreme would be some older collectors say it is insane to spend $8,000 on new books. You see the widespread of opinions in this hobby. That's why there is no one opinion fits all. There is none. Okay, there is no one opinions here that fits all, and that's why whenever I read comments from viewers on things, I always shake my head as if like, no, how you collect is your way. It's fine. I try not to judge people on how they collect. I try. I'm sure I violate that here and there in my big mouth. So yeah, it's not, it's always a restraint on my part to read the comment and say, okay, you are entitled to your opinions, but it is just that your opinions. Your opinion is just that your opinions. Just as my opinion can be just my opinion. I can be completely wrong. Okay, so it's never easy for me to read a comment, but at least over the years, I learned to not have a knee-jerk reaction like, "Oh, you are wrong," or take it personal. People can have their own opinions. I'm not right. I'm not wrong. I'm not right. I'm just here providing opinions. Comics addiction used to spend $350 a month on new book. Holy mackerel. See? There you go. It's a lot of people that buy new books, you know, can spend a lot of money in the thousands. Okay? In the thousands. And for them, it's a different mindset. I mean, I has exchanged with many newer collectors, and uh, I don't get it. Okay, I'll be the first to admit I don't get it because I have tried so many times to buy new books to read, and to be honest, I didn't like them. It's not because I am some old guy that say, "Oh, this is not the X-Men that I used to love." So they changed everything, so I can't buy this stuff. No, it's not. It's just I just find that the art is lackluster. The story is boring. There's a lot of stuff that I just like. It's just not all that exciting for me to buy. So I just don't want to buy for the sake of buying. And this go with independent titles as well. I have bought Six Gun, Ghost. I have dabbled in many modern books, and each time I dabble in them, I'm like, I don't get the hoopla. Now there is one new modern books that I will definitely buy a trade to read next year is the X-Men stuff. The Power of 10, the Power of X, whatever they want to call it. I'm mildly interested in that, just because of the art. To be honest, I look at the art in those books and I thought they look quite nice, quite the kind of art that I like. And I want to see the fresh take on the X-Men. So if there is one trade that I would be waiting for, would be that. I'm not buying the floppies. It ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna go buy the floppies. People can speculate on the fifth print run of the whatever. I don't care. I just wait for the trade to come out because I want to read and see those arts. Let's see. Hello, J Hood Creative. He has been collecting for 45 years. Congratulations. Especially if you have been continuously collecting for all that time. Like I have been collecting since 1981, but I took quite a few breaks. My breaks came in, let's see, 81 to 93, 94. And then from 94 to 1998, I was gone. So there's a 4 year span that I was gone. And then I came back in 1998 because of eBay, late 1998. And then I was gone in 2003. Some of 2003, I was gone once again. And then I came back 5 years later in 2008. So that was, even though from 1981 to 2019, you're talking 38 year span, there is a 9 years gap of me taking time off. And it was well worth it. Daniel Golding is here as well. Hello. Let's see. Daniel said, "Do you remember when Teenage Mutant Ninja One came out?" Absolutely, absolutely. I made quite a few videos, at least two, talking about how I could have bought issue one off the rack, but I didn't like it. I like the cover. Okay, I remember, I talked about this before. I like the cover. The cover was interesting enough for me to pick it up to see what's inside. But the inside was black and white. Okay, this is, you gotta talk about the young me. I'm barely in the hobby my first year or so. So it was black and white, and the copy was pretty beat up because of the way it was. It was at best an 8.0 at best. It was, the spine tick was everywhere, the corner was ding and everything, and I don't remember if there was more than one copy on the rack, to be honest. I just remember, I'm guessing no. I'm guessing that if there was more than one copy, it was also beat up. But I just remember vividly picking it up and said to myself, "Oh man, this book is like not even near mint. It's like very fine. I wouldn't pay a buck or $1.50 for this book because it's not shiny, sharp, right?" But you're talking about young, newer collectors. So I can see that in a lot of younger, newer collector today. People like shiny 9.8. There is a reason why the modern market is blowing up. Now, let's go back to the market. What is interesting to me to watch now that the vintage market has, okay, so the vintage market, back issue, silver age, bronze age, golden age, they're all heading like this. Hello, triple X, double triple X, hello. I'm watching closely to see how the modern market is going to react. Like, what is going on with the slabbing of modern books? Okay, let me be very clear. Because CGC and CBCS categorized 1975 to now as modern, I'm not talking about 1975. I'm talking about new books. Okay, so I'm watching that closely to see how the market will be. I certainly has not watched that closely last year or this year, but going forward, I would definitely pay attention to that market because I'm curious to see how the collectors in that segment view. Okay, like I, I- a big part of me think that very little will impact that market because it's a completely different group of collectors. Okay, the collectors that chase after five figures silver age keys most likely are not the kind of collectors that give a damn about the last book that came out last month that is in a 9.8 slabs. They are not even in the periphery of these collectors. So there is no participation there. So the way I see that segment of the market is I don't know when or if that market will slow down, because the one thing for sure, the economy is doing well. Okay, unemployment is low. A lot of people that are in that market are not impacted by the economy. Okay, so unless there is an impact on the economy, as in like a recession, job loss, wage loss, I don't see a slowdown in the modern slabbing market. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I see things unfold next year. There's a few people that ask me already, like, what do you think of the market? I'm just like, well, depend on what market. If you're talking about the 9, 8 modern books, I don't think there is gonna be a slowdown. But because I'm not watching that market very closely, I don't really know the price. But going forward, 2020, that's part of my goal, is to follow that market closely, because I want to see if there's any kind of impact in pricing. Um, because as I already said, I don't think there will be much, because what's impact the market on the high end has little cross connect with the high end, the high grade modern books. That's what I'm saying. J Hood Creative, tough question here. Do you know any other market where investors have just walked away as if they have lost interest or faith in it? Um, I think for the most part, I think people can agree that you know baseball card or football card or many of those card is. I don't think there is a market that I can tell outside of Beanie Babies, right? I think many of us can agree that Beanie Babies are one of the example where people just completely forgotten. Okay, how about Cabbage Patch? Remember? I remember the '80s where Cabbage Patch dolls was like the hot, like the must-have gift for Christmas, and people was going crazy searching out for those things. And if, so there are things, but when you're talking about collectible market that have been around for a long time, I don't know many that completely go away. Okay, when you're talking about came and went quickly and completely disappear, there are examples like Beanie Babies, Cabbage Patch Kids. There's a lot of things, but those burn hot and then burnt out quickly. Okay, they didn't exist for 10 years. Okay, Beanie Babies was not hot or collectible for 10 plus years. It's not. But when you're talking about out of collectible market like stamps, currencies, uh, that include coins. Okay, baseball card, comic books. Certainly, if you talk to people in many of those fields like stamps, it's definitely weak. Okay, there are still things that are highly sought after because they are very rare and special. Same thing with baseball cards. There will always be cards that are highly sought after because they are special. Even basketball, Michael Jordan, hockey, Wayne Gretzky. Okay, there are always going to be something that is collectible, that's desirable, always. But in general, the trend is down for many of those things, right? I don't follow the baseball cards or hockey card hobby that closely. I know there's a resurgence of that in the hobby lately, right? With many channels, ripping packs and all that stuff. But just because people are buying on YouTube, does that mean that the hobby has returned to its full fledged compared to its heights? I don't think so. I could be wrong. Um, J Hood Creative said that his prediction that is that the comic collecting will die uh, once interest in superhero movies go the way of the Western. There's some truth to that. Nothing lasts forever. Um, I talked about this before in many chats, and just that I'm glad that the superhero genre is accepted by the publics in general compared to what it was back in the 80s and the 90s. That being said, it's here to stay in that, just like romantic comedies, horror, okay? Even Western. Yes, Western today is nowhere popular as Western in the 60s or early 70s when there was TV shows. There was two or three TV shows on TV in the 80s, in the 70s, okay? If you can call Little House on the Prairie Western, it is. But today, we still get one or two good Western movies. It's not blockbuster. It's not like the greatest movie. Sometimes Western movies still are. It's so well made that some of them are still Oscar contenders, right, from year to year. So I don't see a complete like in 20 years no more superheroes. We are sick of it. I don't see that. What I do see is instead of getting 5 movies a year, maybe in 10 years we might get two or one, at least one, if not two. But we're not going to see 5 or 6. That days uh, you know it is behind us. I think I could be wrong, as it's always. It's just my opinion. But how would that impact the hobbies? For those that believe the hobby is fueled by the movies, then you should be worried. If you believe what is going on with the hobby is the direct correlation with the movies, then you should plan your exit. That's my advice. Okay. I plan my exit so you can see where my belief is. Read between the lines. uh, but so I think I don't think you can expect the trend of this market to continue. I have said this countless times. The future values of anything is determined on what? Future collectors. Okay, if you buy something today and expect it to go up in 20 years, do you know the mindset of the collectors 20 years from now or 10 years from now? Okay, so it's I don't know. Okay, I'll be the first to admit I don't know. But what I can say is that, if you ignore the future trends, you will be in big trouble because I think none of us can predict where the future collectors will come from and why they want to collect comic books. Okay, there's a whole lot of question mark that I don't know. You know, the W's. Okay, where? Who? I don't know. I mean, I'm just glad that I am at the age where I can sell the books in the next few years and enjoy my retirement years. That is really my long-term goal. I don't really have any long-term view on what this hobby will be in 10 years. I do not. In 10 years, I do not want to be on YouTube making videos about comic books. I still be on YouTube, definitely not talking about comic books. Okay. J Hood Creative, good luck, my friend. Hang in there. Hang in there until you get that retirement goal. Okay, hang in there. Indeed, J Hood Creative. That A lot of people predicted, a lot of people have predicted that nostalgia will be the key driver for this new younger crop of fandom. Those that, like my son's age, 12, 13, 14, those that are enjoying the superhero movies, they will have that nostalgia feeling in 20 years and be the collectors. We will see. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I'm not here to say that theory is nonsense. I'm not here to say that. Certainly, you have heard of people talk about how they got into this hobby because they fell in love with the X-Men cartoon back in the 90s, right? There's a lot of people that discover comic books through that medium, the X-Men cartoon. Okay. So I'm not going to poo poo the next generation that say, I got into this hobby because back when I was a teenager, I saw the Avengers movie. Okay. So I don't know. Okay. It's possible. It's all in the realm of possibility. Okay. So for this hobby to continue 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, it need fresh blood in here. Absolutely, it need fresh blood. Anyone that think that this hobby can run based on old man buying stuff, uh, dead wrong. Okay, there's time where I can say that I'm 100% confident in my belief. That's my strong belief that I believe is right. This hobby cannot survive on old man keep buying stuff because we all will be dead eventually. So it need fresh blood, young fresh blood. Anyhow, it's 11:57. A few more minutes to go. I'm glad people was here to join me. So going forward in 2020, I will hold comic book investment chat not on Sunday. That's why I took the word Sunday out because I don't want to tie myself to any kind of schedule. I will hold the chat once in a while whenever I feel a need or desire to do so. So it's just gonna be comic book investment chat, maybe once a month here and there. There's no set time. uh, J Hood Creative say, sad but true. I'm guessing that you're talking about we all will be dead. So this hobby cannot rely on old man, middle-aged man keep buying stuff. That's not gonna work. That's a formula. That's an economic formula that cannot survive. Anyhow, I'm hungry. Stomach is starting to growl, so time for me to get ready to make my lunch. Enjoy your day. Last week of school for my son, so yeah, he's gonna be home next week. Christmas is here, so getting ready. No Christmas shopping for me. No comic books. Anyhow, thanks everybody for joining me. Appreciate it. I will load this in a podcast format sometime later today. So for those that want to listen to the podcast instead of seeing my face, you can do that. Bye bye.